Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of E-Coffee with Experts. I'm your host, Matt Fraser. And on today's show, I have with me Terry Redmond. Now, Terry is the CEO and founder of Internet Business Ideas and Marketing, also known as IBI, a full-service digital marketing agency located in West Palm Beach, Florida area. He has a bachelor's degree from the University of Washington and has over 15 years of combined sales and marketing experience working with companies such as Birkenstock, University of Washington, Johnson & Johnson, Microsoft, and Nike, just to name a few. When not working on marketing campaigns for his clients, Terry enjoys spending time with his wife and 2-year-old son. Terry, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. And too bad the audience didn't get to hear your bio for 30 minutes before this. Because hey, I'm putting it out there right now. Right now, everybody, let Matt just for 30 minutes talk about himself. And you guys are going to be thoroughly interested. You won't want to turn away.
Well, thank you very much. I'll have to get on a podcast as a guest myself and share my story. I'm glad you found it interesting. How would your high school teachers describe you as a student, Terry?
Woof, high school.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, going in as a freshman, I'll tell you how the principal described me, right? So I was fortunate enough our graduation, our principal's speech was about me. Had no clue. You know, you got almost 400 people in your class graduating. And I thought he was talking about our star quarterback, and he was talking about me. It was kind of interesting. And I would say this, hey, I came in just not knowing, not really. School education was a priority in our family, but I didn't make it a priority. It wasn't like I was failing, but I was a C student, sort of speak, right? Pretty much graduated as like a B- student, maybe C+ anyways. But and then I found sports, and I was in sports year round. And so to be organized, you showing up on time, you're learning to work with others, you got to make time for scholastics, and it force you to do everything. And then so as a result, I would say I came in kind of wiry, but probably left out a lot more focused. And as one of the first African-American homecoming king also at our school, I think kind of a testimonial to, where I started off to where I ended up being. So
that is cool. So sports helped you to focus. Getting involved in sports helped you to focus and be more disciplined.
Yeah, I think so. For me, it did, right? I mean, you got coaches on time. On time is 10 minutes early. You have to have a certain GPA to obviously, play a sport. I think get a 2.0 or something like that just to be eligible. If you had any social interactions that were, unsavory, guess what's happening? You're not playing in that game. So you're going to run, practice, and do everything else, but you can't get the reward of playing. So you pretty much stay out of trouble. And so that was the genesis. I think that helped mold me to who I was. Also, don't get me wrong, I should give more credit to my family. Obviously my mom and dad, we're fortunate to have a 2-parent. We talked about this before the podcast, but I have a 2-parent household, right?
Yeah.
That so helps out a lot. Absolutely. Very, dad's a technical engineer, ironically enough. My mom worked for the government, but she pretty much was a contract worker doing like HR work and ran HR, company. So just having that already was like a good foundation for me. In addition to, scholastics unit.
Right on. Did that carry on into college, university?
Absolutely. What's funny is I don't really miss things like school attendance, classes, work. You and I are in this networking group called BNI.
Yeah.
I will tell you, in 6 years, I bet I haven't missed 5 meetings.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
It's like I'm just programmed to, you do it, you show up, right?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is not always good. Right after the birth of my child, Like the next day I was president, I literally showed up and I ran the meeting while we're in lockdown in the hospital COVID, right? So it's not always the most healthiest thing to have. But yes.
But I get what you're saying. Like, it's important to be a man of your word, and to base that principle. So yeah, that's awesome. Hey, what inspired you to pursue a career in digital marketing?
It's interesting. I'm gonna jump ahead of you for this because you
sure.
Kind of segue into something. Being a person of my word, that integrity.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not saying others in our industry don't have it at all.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the transparency is lacking.
Yeah.
And I understand it's not our job to teach people how to do our job. As you mentioned, Matt, you spent tens of thousands of dollars, endless hours of learning how to do your craft.
Yep, absolutely.
Why give it away for free all the time?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I can understand. And so when you got the person in the garage by themselves, no one else, and just learning or getting into it, they're going to make mistakes just because they're new. They're neophytes to the industry. And then they're also not going to tell people how they're going to help them. Right? Well, the company that I was a VP with, they actually we were doing really well. It was a great company. And they were, for 3 months, they were subletting our stuff out to India. It doesn't matter where they're giving it to, it doesn't matter where it was. But the people they were giving it to weren't doing a good job. Yeah. And how it touched me is, as the face kind of the company, we had this huge client. It was a lumber company, but they were small in nature, right? And there was a single mom that was there from the beginning and had been with this company for 11 years. They loved our marketing because we grew them tremendously. Single mom was pregnant, like 5 or 6 months, and we called back and she wasn't there anymore. Couldn't figure out why. She says, "Hey, we have a 30% downturn in marketing for them. That's a big number for a company like that." And they had layoffs and let her go. That's what the owner told me. And I found out the reason why is for 90 days. Secretly, he didn't tell me, he's been farming some of the work out, shoddy work overseas. Yeah. And I said, let's admit to what we did. Tell you didn't want to do it, wasn't taking responsibility for it. That was one of the major reasons why I went off on my own, because I wanted to be transparent, right? Yeah. To a certain degree, right? I wanted to be someone of my word, whether I'm trying to pull it to. And if I can't help you, I'm going to refer you on to somebody else that can.
Who can? Yeah.
Even though I don't recruit or talk about, because you can't integrate it legally into like your hiring practice or whatever. But this is a faith-based company. Someone who's faith-based, right?
Oh yeah.
Who's a Christian. But for me, it's that integrity that someone needs to have. If we mess up, I'm going to own it, let you know about it, and then tell you what we're going to do to be better. By the way, if we did something well, I'm going to tell you that we did something well. And I'm also going to tell you, hey, celebrate it and how we're going to do better and what we're going to do next month. So it's kind of one of those two things. So that statement you made about being in your word is exactly.
Yeah. There's a verse, probably know about, called "Keep your word to your own hurt," which is a principle I like to live by, which means, keep your word, even if it's going to cause you discomfort. Like if you say you're going to do something, do it to the point that even if it's something that, I don't know, there's been situations where, it's hurt me to keep my word.
How powerful is that? I like that. But how powerful is that what you just said, right? Think about how hard it is. Like, we're both married people. How hard it is when something else comes up that you got to do. Yeah. Or you want to do something and, you want to have a difficult conversation. Right?
Yeah, that's not always easy.
Ego, right? Sucking up your ego.
Yeah.
And accepting and listening to what someone else is saying, right? That's all part of that. And if you take that same mentality to our business, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like when you say you're going to do something for a client, do it.
Absolutely.
And if the campaign doesn't work out because of whatever reasons, then be transparent. Explain. I mean, maybe the copy sucked. Maybe the landing pages sucked. Maybe they didn't spend enough money. Maybe somebody didn't, pay attention to the broad match keywords or the negative keywords and adding those, and excluding words, and so on and so forth.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's a common thing in our industry that I've learned, that people get frustrated with marketing agencies because of the lack of transparency, and they've had a lot of bad experiences. I found the similarities between that and because I was in car sales, as I shared with you, and people think car sales people are dishonest and that they're snake oil salespeople. But I mean, being in this industry for now, and I know that this doesn't speak to everybody, but I think every industry has that problem, including the marketing agency, the legal industry, the even the medical industry. There's doctors that don't do their jobs as well as they should, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think no matter what you do, if you're a mechanic or a lawyer or whatever the case may be, being a person of integrity in business is important.
Absolutely. I totally agree. That's good. That's a good analogy. Good point.
Yeah. So what do you love most about digital marketing, Terry? I mean, of all the things, of all the professions you could have gone into, what was it that, you're like, man, I love this stuff?
No, not at all. And to be honest with you, I don't know too many people who really just go like, a few people that we work with on our team love optimizing, love working in accounts or designing. Right? Yeah. But for me, no, didn't love it. Never thought I was growing up to say, hey, I'm going to do digital marketing. Right. Here, interesting. Well, right now as we speak, there's a $2 billion jackpot, right, for the Powerball. I don't know if you knew that in the States.
No,
$2 billion.
$2 billion jackpot. Wow. That's amazing.
That's crazy, right?
That's crazy.
Well, roughly about a month and a half, 2 months ago, there was a 1.2, what is like the third or fourth largest at the time. Now this is the largest. And then I remember someone asking me like, hey, my wife told me, she was like, we're leaving everything, cutting the clients. We're done, Terry. No more hours. It's over. Yeah. And I was like, no, I can't. I'll be a little more selective. But my passion is helping people, especially SMBs, right? Small, medium-sized businesses. See. Now, one thing with people like yourself or others that are in this industry, as you all know, that been doing this for a while and are good at what we do, the price tag, we're not touching too many clients that's just spending, like for example, for SEO, let's just spending a few $1,000s. Yeah. We put a lot of work in it and time into it.
Absolutely.
And what I realize is that there's an underserved market. So as predominantly small businesses that can't afford that are made up of minorities and women, right? So people of color and women. So as a result, I said, let me get a price point that is fair enough that I can actually do something. So, okay, wow. So I'm going to go a little deep for here real quick and I'll get back to that.
Sure.
My mission statement in life.
Yeah.
Right. This is so, I feel like you're Oprah right now. My life mission statement, I have it put up on, touch it every day when I leave the house, but have a positive impact on everybody I meet. Be kind and forgiving, patient and understanding, educate while constantly being educated. Be the example. All this would be done with God as my foundation, right?
Wow.
That is,
I think I'm going to have to steal that, Terry.
Go ahead, please do. All that is interwoven into our personal mission statement of our business. And part of that is having a positive impact in everyone in our sphere of influence. Yeah. So someone famous once said, not everyone can be famous, but everyone can do great things. If you're a janitor, be the best janitor. If you're if you're a plumber, be the best plumber you are. A teacher, be the best teacher. Because guess what? If Terry smiles and opens a door for somebody, says thank you, buy somebody's groceries behind them in line they don't know about, they're going to appreciate that. And guess what? One day they'll probably do. They'll probably do the same thing. Absolutely. That impact that I have will go down for generations that I won't even know about. Right? Yeah. Teaching people how to smile or be nice or kindness or giving to others. So being that spirit of influence, helping each other. So for me, I've realized now, just recently, I didn't realize this, but I love seeing a business who's small, spending only $500 or $1,000, giving some homework DIY stuff on their own while we're still doing some minimal marketing till they can grow. And now we have 5, 6, 7 years, 10 years. as a client, right?
That's smart.
That is awesome. I mean, I got stories.
It's rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You know, you reminded me of a lesson my dad taught me when he sat me down when I was 12. Told me, he said, don't try to be the best. Always do your best.
Love him. Love him.
I don't know where he got that from because he's not a philosophical person. He doesn't read a lot of self-help books. But he sat me down and he said, Matthew, don't try to always be the best, but always do your best. And
isn't that fantastic, Matt?
Yeah, I've never forgotten it. I mean, I didn't do it. I was having troubles in school. Not that I was not smart, because I was exceptionally well. Anyway, I don't want to boast. I did very well in school, but there was some emotional challenges I was having. I was getting made fun of for being smart. Yeah, I'll just come out and say it. I was getting made fun of for being smart. So I dumbed down in order to not get made fun of. And I wish I'd never done that.
Yes.
I wish I'd never done that. And so I guess I should put it into context why he said that to me. You know, and another reason I was actually bored in school, because for me, it was boring because they were teaching too slow. They should have put me in a different program. But anyway, he said to me, don't try to be the best, but I always want you to do your best. So whenever I do that, whether it's this podcast or whether it's doing a marketing campaign or writing a blog post. Like I won't write a crappy blog post. I just refuse. I'll work on it until it's like exceptional. But again, I'm trying to do my best, not be the best for me.
Right.
And anyway,
what's hard is that it's a double-edged sword for us, right? I feel the same way, and I've learned more from my failures than than my successes. And so as a result, I said, I'm going to do better. If I give 100%, it's all I can ask. And the issue why I failed at this is I know I didn't give 100%. I know I didn't do this. I could have missed opportunities because maybe I didn't have the knowledge or experience, something like that, right? But if I don't give 100% in addition to that, then I've only failed myself. And I realize that is it. But I tell you, the double-edged sword is our work ethic and things that we do are sometimes off the chart, right? So we have people working for us, or relationships or friends you expect sometimes, which I've learned now to dial that back. They're not Matt. They're not Terry. You have to give those expectations, because if you're giving them something, you want everyone else to do it too. Why aren't you doing it? And you got to kind of peel that back a little bit. Even with my clients, right? Got a client complaining, go, hey, you have $750. You want to rank for the whole state of Florida? Right? I'm like, no, but here's some things you can do on your own, right? So, for example, I got this one guy I gave him a free app so you can sign people up, so you can push notifications to them. His app that you can have. You think he would have even 10, or 15, or 30? Literally nothing with it. And so I'm paying for him to, have an app and doesn't do anything with it. And that's an example. You can't always help people, right? It's a double-edged for us because you care so much, and you want them to get that 100% too. And some people just don't want to help themselves,
So you mentioned some failures. Like what has been one of your biggest failures, and how did you pick up from it?
I will say my sports. I was lucky enough to play University of Washington football.
Okay.
I was lucky enough to play. We were so good that we won national champions. We run Rose Bowls. This is equivalent in Canada. It's like for college, we were the best in the entire country for like 3 years, right? We were back then kind of like the Alabama for a 3-year run, right? So, and it got to the point where I just realized that kind of maybe to my head, or I just didn't give the effort I know I should be doing. I should be living and breathing what I love doing. And I chose to be with my fraternity brother sometimes, right? And I'd go to some of those parties. I wouldn't run as much as I should. Now, get me wrong. To the average person, you're like, Terry, you did a lot. But I know what it takes to be at that uber level. I can went to another college and been a starter and played there. But to see me making it, being on that team and that squad, I know I didn't give 100%. And so that kind of ate at me for a long period of time. And then when I took that mentality into my business life, I said, ain't happening again.
Yeah.
And stuff that you've been told and taught to, like you said, your dad didn't sink in probably till later. You probably didn't know when you first were told as a teenager, and from 17 in college till roughly 21, didn't really sink in, and then it sank in afterwards, or like my senior year,
Yeah.
And I started realizing, and that's why I said, okay, that's just one of many. I can tell you about childhood failure, I can tell you about business failures, but the bottom line is that I always look at something and I step back and says, what could I have done better?
Yeah.
And then once I do that, I put things totally in perspective. I don't have any ill feelings. I assume that responsibility. And, same thing goes again for personal life, whether it's for family or business,
Absolutely. So you've been in business sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
You've been in business for quite some time now with your agency. What do you think is the key to sustaining long-term success in business?
10.5 years.
Yeah, that's a long time. Most businesses go out of business in less than 5. So
absolutely. Look at, in your stats on that stuff. I mean, most fail. I forget the percentage fail within the first, 16 months, high number percentage. I will tell you this, is that I had a different business plan. I was fortunate enough to be part of companies that were big agencies. And as you know, keeping a client 4 months was norm. 6 to 8, great. A year, gold mine, right?
Yeah.
I didn't want that. I knew there's money in the residual. That's why I told you before when we talked earlier, is helping SMBs. Think about the power of doing that. Now, don't get me wrong. There's downsides to it. They got Pabst Blue Ribbon budget with champagne taste, most of them, right?
Yeah, that's a good one, man.
Right?
Exactly. They want the world for nothing.
And you have proper expectations, and they want everything. They want your time. Yeah. So I understand why most people don't do it. Don't get me wrong. But because it's my passion, I don't mind it. And the cool thing about having them is the residual that comes with it. I wake up knowing I have a paycheck. Right.
Yeah.
Like one client leaves me, I'm like struggling, like, oh my gosh, or 2 clients. So you have a situation where you have residual income coming in on a regular basis. So for me, staying in business was that. So again, you talked about wanting to do better. So it's kind of like that coaching. So we give the monthly reports, which are pretty transparent. We review them with them, let them know what we did wrong or did right? Because we see, how traffic increases, decreases. Rankings of keywords increases, decreases. We don't tell them every single thing that we do as far as our optimization, because as you do and others, there's always little tricks and secrets. But as you know, it's public domain. If you want to know how to do link building, you want to know how to do optimization for on page or off page for SEO. People click, right? Do the basics, you'll be successful. If you want to be ultra successful, there's some little tricks. I don't do gray or black hat. I will walk through that fence. I will even straddle it, but I won't cross over it. But the bottom line is also, I always keep learning. So like, for example, I study 5 hours a month on just a particular topic. So just SEO, just pay-per-click, just social media. I really don't do web design as much anymore hands-on. So I don't really study as much, but I do know enough that I know when we create something or something goes down or fixed, I can go in there and like fix it, which is a lot easier nowadays than it was 12, 13 years ago with the plug and plays, what they have of like, all these different platforms now. Right. So that, I think that me staying on top of things also helps out. But, and I'm going to say one last thing as I realize is that, I think it was Jim Rohn, right? I think motivation.
Yeah. Jim. Okay. Yeah. Jim Rohn. Yeah.
Jim Rohn. He said, invest in yourself more than anything else. Right.
Oh, wow.
So think about that. So if you invest in like your mind, right? So learning, which you mentioned a few awesome books I should do, what you're doing, your body, right? Like I try and get healthier, exercise on a regular basis, right?
Yeah.
And your spirit of who you are to be better.
Yeah.
That is the foundation of everything you perpetrate. So if you're spending more time studying, learning about online marketing than you are putting that into your own self, listening to self-help books, learning how to be better, maybe learning breath work or learning how to calm down or solve problems, right? Like all these different things to help you be better, right? That is like a key to doing that. So I think for me, my success is that. And then I put that knowledge into my business, into people that I work with and my clients.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, how do you identify a client that is possibly difficult and unprofitable? Like, what strategies do you use to identify those people over the years that you've been doing this? Let's be frank. Let's just be preface that there are people who are difficult to work with that nobody wants as a client. And, maybe there's some people out there that are trying to figure out how to identify them and how to avoid working with them.
You know what? It's an ongoing process because my passion is that, right? So I got an example. I have an individual wants to build a website and do some marketing. And he talked a good game when we set the appointments. Number one, I try and screen them. They need to have a budget.
Okay.
This person had to meet with me. I don't really meet with clients anymore. I do things all across the country, but he had to.
Okay.
Had to physically be there.
Okay.
And then kind of find out he wanted a 1 or 2 pager. Now my heartstring goes out. He wanted to build a website for his son, has cerebral palsy, and he wanted to raise money and get the awareness out there. And then kind of find out he has like $300 or $400. I told him, like, for me to go and meet with you 45 minutes to drive there, to meet for whatever time to come back, I know what my time is worth. It's not just that, right? Because I help people out, but you have to do this so bad, right? That I can charge you for it and you can pay more, but your price point is in particular. Then how are you going to do the marketing for it? So I already know this is going, but me to a learning experience, I realized that my heart went out. And as a single father, what he is with his child who has this disease, and then what happens is I keep trying to help, right? I keep following up, and I know he can't even do the marketing with it. So very unprofitable. And I got to learn to cut ties. This is something going on right now. Now, on the other hand, I got another one that I know I see it coming a mile away. And I say, hey, here's this. I give them some blogs that I have about DIY marketing, right? They can read it themselves, do it themselves. I have a consultation with them. And I said, hey, we may not be a good fit right now, but I will tell you, please call these individuals. Some people who I do just Google my business setup page, right? There's some things, how to do it free yourself. What you should be doing on social media. I go, you put this in now when you get too busy, because you'll be making money. Too busy. Now you can come to us and we can help facilitate that. So that's what I typically do and try and get. So again, part of the mission statement is always helps everyone in our sphere of influence. So I'm always learning. It is tough. And I will tell you, there's reasons why people don't do those clients low for that reason. But again, I love it. And I love seeing the reward in the end.
Well, that's awesome. Hey, what are some of those do-it-yourself marketing blogs that you point people to for anybody listening that's interested?
It is on my blog on ibimarketing.com. Go to the blog section. It's on there. So, but one of them is DIY, right? So for example, here's an example. Say, for example, SEO. You can't afford to do anyone SEO right now. I always say, put content on your page, right?
Okay.
At least once a month, do at least 300 words. Talk about a topic that you get the most questions on, right? In that blog, right? Make it to the personality of people that come to your site. So the conversation, if you're an attorney, you might be serious and straightforward. If you are jovial, be jovial, right? Nowadays, as you well know, the punctuation, all that stuff, and run-on sentences aren't what it used to be when I grew up. I'm showing my age now, right? So the point is make it so that people want to be on there. Also, have a few interlinks that link to other topics and landing pages on your website, so people stay on your site longer. So now you got contextual links happening. Something you can do on your own, right? Contextual links happening. You got some content that's fresh and unique. Don't copy from anybody. Remember, Google wants unique content. So at least 80% needs to be your own. So keep that in mind. And then you can put that on there. That's simple for SEO. A matter of fact, go out there and be on a bunch of different directories, right? So directories are free out there. Sign yourself up to be on that. That'll help you out as well. Those are some DIY things you can do on your own that don't take much time to do that. If you don't anyways. That's just for SEO. For social media and pay-per-click, I can tell you things also. So
are there other digital marketing blogs that you yourself read on a regular basis?
I'm a fan of Search Engine Journal.
Search Engine Journal? Cool.
So I like them. But anyway, I mean, I don't have a particular vertical or individual that I listen to. I listen to everybody. And so when I study. So when I go to someone, it always have links to somebody else that I listen to and read. And then no matter what, when I get stuff, I always go back and research to make sure it's like legit and make sure that it has a proven case study. I don't want to experiment on my clients, but also being Google certified, I also have reps, and I'm blessed enough to have people that work for Google, that work for DuckDuckGo, that work for Yahoo, that are high executives that I can pass the stuff by. So just doing this for so long, like yourself, man, you got people that you know already, same thing with different companies that you can pass stuff by, and they have firsthand experience and know what's going on, so to implement this. So, but I do my research first. So I'm not just coming empty-handed, asking for favors. I bring knowledge with it and see who pass it by them. Sometimes they learn. Sometimes they're like, hey, this is a good idea. Or sometimes say, no, we did this a year ago. People are talking about that. Don't believe it. And they can tell you something else that can go on a new strategy. So
with the you mentioned that you dedicate a certain amount of hours to training per month, and with the digital marketing landscape changing so much, so quickly, all of the time, how do you yourself stay up to date on the latest digital marketing trends?
To be honest with you, that is a studying and seeing that. Search in general is pretty really good at that, and I do tap into my connections and resources. Okay. But I will tell you this, like, for example, I just I don't mind saying this, but one of my execs at the highest social media platform in the world, or in the United North Americas, he just had an option to stay or leave. He chose to leave. And I was asking him, why. He had a great job, etc. He's even getting out the industry. Well, he told me, number one is a lot of things are going to be changing, right? So you got Apple that has the opt-in situation, so you can't really track what's going on.
Yeah, they've totally changed the game.
All right. But here's this. Right. So using social media to do that, you used to be able to say, hey, how's our old age range, male or female, right?
Yeah, I remember.
What were they coming from, which they still do. You still can basically do that. What platform they're using their phones or their laptops or desktops, or right. So now Google's going to be doing this. The biggest player in the game is going to do it at the end of this year, Q1 at the latest Q2. When you get that happening, the landscape is going to be changed. So you need to have a strategy put in place right now for when you're giving clients feedback and letting them know the benefits of online marketing. It's not going to be as granular as it was before, but it'll be still better than traditional marketing, right?
Yeah.
Which is just like radio, television, print.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's not going to be like it was. And you got to have a strategy in place now and let people know exactly how it benefits them, which we're already doing. That's part of like staying on top of that. And I wouldn't even have known that was going to happen so soon if it wasn't for, again, leveraging connections. You mentioned this before. You go to some conferences. I know a lot of people are going back to them on the pandemic. But I tell people also, just don't go to those conferences. Go get online with people. That's how I met Matt, everyone.
Yeah.
So anyone listen to this, thousands and thousands and thousands out there. This is how I met Matt. So get on with him and do one of these. But and you get some knowledge about this, and you get some knowledge of people, and you get to network, and you get to know people, and these are ways that you do to keep expanding your territory. So studying doesn't always mean you're always. Majority is for me reading articles or listening to blogs or whatever, but also sitting and learning, right?
Yeah.
I learned about, I won't give away some of the things we talked about with SEO that we talked about, possibly some connections, but that is what I would never know if I would have done this podcast.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to give me this connection after this. Never would have done that.
Yeah.
And so take the time to give everybody an opportunity and talk and meet. Not to mention, if you are, can I say where you might be moving to if you come to States? Can I say that on?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So our fellow Canadian here might be moving to Austin, Texas, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
As you know, that is the Silicon Valley of the South right now in the United States. He's going to be in the middle of that. How awesome is it that when everyone comes in town, you're probably going to be the person that everyone's going to start going to. You got hours of probably these things. You're going to have a studio when you're in there. And
I'm going to build one.
Podcast, we're on the road coming in town. Boom. It's going to be a different Matt I'm lucky to get in now. So it'll be a different Matt in another few years. I'm not gonna be able to get one of these, but just an idea. This is part of the networking. Stay on top of things with people because you're gonna have the insight. And you're gonna be talking to people that you never thought you were before. And me knowing you're like, hey Terry, you know what? I heard about this. You should be doing this. You know?
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
That networking like that setting. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey. What an amazing, thank you so much for sharing that. It's just been absolutely amazing talking to you. What's one takeaway you want people to get from this episode? If they're, yeah.
It's not even about marketing.
Yeah.
I would say the takeaway is so tough. I would say always be my mission statement. That'd be ideal if someone could take that, right? Have a positive impact on everyone you meet. That'd probably be ideal. That would be my takeaway.
That is golden.
But let me tell you what I can steal, right? Yeah. I don't know if you said this before the podcast or during.
No, that's a good one.
Matt said he got it from his dad.
Yeah.
And always give 100%. It sounds simple, right?
Yep.
But and you own it when you don't give 100%. That's probably another takeaway that I wrote down when we were talking is just to remind myself is giving that effort of that 100% too. So those would probably be the two that I take away, man.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's been absolutely awesome talking to you. How can our listeners get in touch with you online if they choose to do so?
Great question, Matt, because I'm the worst at this. But Facebook at ibimarketing.com. That's probably the best way. My Instagram is at IBI_marketing.
Yeah.
IBI is Internet Business Ideas. Feel free to.
And what about you personally? Are you on?
Yes.
You're on LinkedIn, I think.
LinkedIn. I'm in LinkedIn. Or absolutely. IBI Marketing's on there. Terry Redmond or Terrence Redmond is my LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
RDMOND.
Cool.
Feel free to email me. I'm open to emails. Terry at IBImarketing.com. TERY at IBImarketing.com. I love taking questions. I love helping people. I love mentoring. So always feel free to reach out.
That is awesome. We'll make sure to put that information in the show notes. Hey, Terry, again, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Matt, you're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.